What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Hyperliquid today. Hype USD. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here, and let's get into it. It's the 15th day of July, and here we are sitting at about $68.50. Did I say hit the like button? I hope I did. Hit the like button. Let's get into it here, you guys. Okay, so we've been consolidating, right? And the idea, maybe if we look at this on something with more history, Hype H. We've been consolidating for quite some time, right? We've been consolidating now since really the end of May. Here we are getting into the end of July. Each time Hyperliquid is pumped in its life, we've seen a phenomenal rally, a phenomenal rally, a phenomenal rally. And then what happens after the rally? We distribute. We distribute for months at a time. Well, since the end of May, we have been, I think, distributing. Now, I do think, like this last distribution phase, in this distribution we will go higher. I do think that that's going to happen. But we are distributing. Absolutely we are. Make no mistake, my friends. We're in a phase of consolidation. This consolidation can end any day now. It was very easy to say that we were going to be consolidating, a month ago, 2 months ago. But now it's been a couple months. We don't have to consolidate much longer. This consolidation here, this distribution lasted from December until February, and then we broke down, right? So about like it's December, mid-December to mid-February, so January, February, it's just 2 months, right? It's been nearly 2 months now that we've been consolidating. Here, this lasted a lot longer, from May until, really, we didn't start to really drop until October, and we were distributing, kind of consolidating to the upside, and then we started to really tank. I do expect that we're going to continue to consolidate. I do expect that we're going to continue to move higher. We look at this from a relative high here to a relative low here. We did consolidate below the 1272, this area here, for quite some time before eventually topping off just above it. We're doing the same thing now, where from a high here, the prior all-time high, to the low here, we are consolidating just below the 1272. Typically, if you find resistance around or just below the 1272 like this, you will go below the 886. But you didn't. You actually found support at it, and not only have you found support at the 886, but you found higher lows along the way. This is the type of behavior you see whenever you go above the prior areas of resistance. So I would think that we go somewhere around the 1414, whether it's just below the 1414, just above it, something around $92. Maybe we go just under 100, just over 100, just under 90, but something above where we are now. I think that'll be the high of this range overall. And then when we find that high, we're not just going to do this. That's not what we did here. Yes, you dropped immediately, but then you saw more consolidation for about a month. Okay, you dropped here, sure, initially, but you didn't just drop all the way down, right? You consolidated for months before actually dropping lower. The big move down is going to happen, but after the high, it'll likely be months away from there. We might get a sudden shift, but then there's going to be more time. Anyways, that's the kind of idea. That's the picture I'm painting here, over the more midterm kind of time frame. In the more immediate time frame, if we want to zoom in and look at that here, we look at the 1 hour time frame. I'm going to use the Coinbase chart now because I think the long-term understanding is clear. Looking at Coinbase, we're using the Coinbase chart for the volume. As you're moving up here, volume's decreasing a little bit. Bitcoin's moving up, everything else is moving up. Maybe we see a little bit of downward volatility, but just because your volume's decreasing here doesn't mean you can't keep moving up and your volume can't keep decreasing. You can definitely keep moving up from here. You look bullish, you look good. On a 1 hour time frame, that RSI is immaculate. The stochastics are great. The MACD is great. Very green for a long time, very overbought for a long time, consistently overbought here. Maybe it's time to cool off. Cool off a little bit. Nothing too extreme. From a low here at about 62.50 to a high here, if you were to cool off, you could come down as low as $64.50. Maybe you only go to 67.35. Probably somewhere in between. If I had to guess, you might find support right here in this area where you found support before, right around your 382. That's perfect. Right around $66. You're at $68 now. Come down, get a higher low, consolidate, form a bull flag, whatever the case may be, cool off on your indicators, and then continue to rally, right? That's probably what's going to happen if I had to guess. Maybe you move up a little bit higher first, but you are at this prior area of resistance. All I'm saying is go back to this prior area of support, right? Around $66, maybe just above there. 4 hour time frame, we look at this here. The RSI is right at the overbought zone. it's a good area to reject. You've done it a couple of times. You know, you've definitely rejected this zone before. I suspect you will get overbought. Just for now, you know, maybe a little bit of turbulence here. Maybe you're forming an inverse head and shoulders pattern, right? You've got this left shoulder here, got your head, you form a right shoulder, and then you break out. It's the inverse sombrero of victory and celebration. Da 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 da. Anyways, we're gonna go up. Da 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 da. That's the expectation over time. 4-hour time frame here. RSI again rejecting the overbought zone. Come down to the 50. Come back up to the overbought zone. Break out then. Stochastics are overbought. Chill. Come back to the 50. Come back up. Reset. Come to the oversold zone. However it works. You know, whatever. The MACD. You're a little bit turbulent here. You're kind of choppy and sideways with this dump and pump. You know, it's still kind of choppy and sideways for the most part, right? MACD might not be helpful in this example. You're right at the zero, maybe find resistance here, but I'm not too worried about it, is all I'm saying. Normally, I wouldn't like the prospect of finding resistance at the zero, but here, I'm not too worried about it, right? Like the same thing here. You found resistance over here. That didn't really matter much. You continued to grow. What about this low to high? What did we do here? Low to high here. Golden ratio support, love it, love to see it. Great, phenomenal. Daily time frame. Of course, this consolidation phase overall, it's like a giant symmetrical triangle, a kind of pennant pattern. We break out of that. I don't expect crazy things to happen, but something, you know, something of a comparable size to the length of this pattern overall. That should take us right around 92 bucks. I mean, typically with symmetrical triangles, the measure move is the highest point to the lowest point of the pattern. You take that, you put it at your breakout point, and that's your measure move. So if, you know, here, oops, here we've got these lower highs, higher lows, the high to the low of the pattern's there. If we were to break out right here or any time afterwards, that does take us, you know, to like 97 bucks. So right there, just above the 1414, that's very common stuff to do. I wonder, even from this relative fib, what would we see from a high to a low? Is that the right high? That is the high. Yeah, the golden ratio is right there at 94 bucks. There's a lot of significance around that $90 to $95 area. There really is. So I could see us going there. That's the top of this move overall. And then for the months to come, hyperliquid consolidates back down. Not in a bear market, right? Just getting a higher low. Oh, we're not on the all-time history. Getting a higher low in the sense of its all-time structure. Daily RSI. You have, throughout your whole life, at least on the Coinbase chart, found support here. I expect you will yet again. Stochastics bouncing right off the oversold zone after getting into the overbought zone. Getting into the overbought zone, bouncing off the oversold zone. Worked out for you before. It'll probably work out for you now. MACD's bullish overall. All of these are bullish. It looks good. That's the idea. You know, you're probably going to wig, you're going to wag, you're going to do your thing, but then once it comes to getting above like 75 bucks, 74 bucks, somewhere in that area, once it comes to getting above there, you'll probably break out and go to this $90, $95 area if I had to guess. At least something that is above $80, but I think 90 to 95 is a more than appropriate target, or higher. It could go higher. It's possible. I'm not in that realm of expectation, but it could happen, sure. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.